Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Tonight, we have part two of a conversation. So, I want to ask you a question. If you ever felt like you were being trapped in a relationship, or have you ever wondered how to break free from some kind of emotional turmoil and you want to regain your life back? And what we have right now is a repeat guest who's going to come on, and we're going to talk about narcissism and get into the mind of a narcissist. And you can hear it straight from his mouth because he knows. Hold on one second. All right. I thought I was having technical difficulties, but I'm not. So, with that being said, let's get started.
This for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti, black girl magic, melanin popping, whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.
All right, we're back. Again, welcome to another episode of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. My name is Ursula B, and I'm just a black girl trying to get her shift together. Before we get started tonight, please like, comment, share this video with anyone who's in a relationship, or if you're in a relationship and you just want to dig a little deeper. Anyone on the audio podcast, please give your girl a 5-star review. I would so appreciate it. And if it's on YouTube, make sure and like and share the video so that we all can get this healing. We don't want to hold it to ourselves. We want to share it with the world. All right, tonight we have Mr. Leon Walker Jr. He is back on. We did a part 2 about the topic was understanding narcissism. He is a diagnosed narcissist, but the cherry on the top with him is that he is doing the healing work, or he's continuing to do the healing work. And we all can do that as well. So I'm going to bring Leon out of the waiting room.
What's up, Ursula?
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm well. Like I said earlier, it was a long day at work, but I'm glad I'm where I want to be right now, so we can have a part 2 of our discussion.
Yes.
Yeah. And so just as a recap, do you want to let everyone know probably in 2 minutes on your narcissism journey or your diagnosis of narcissism?
Yeah. And so narcissism starts in the childhood through neglect, trauma, abuse, being bullied, called names, picked on, all of that, forgotten about, left behind. I come through my childhood as being molested a few times, my parents' divorce, suicide ideations, addictions to porn. And so I lost my way at an early age. You know, I didn't want to be married, didn't want to have kids, didn't want to love, didn't believe in God, didn't have empathy. I knew something was wrong with me. I didn't know what it was. I didn't find out until I joined the Navy. And then when I joined, it started, my diagnosis started, but then, you know, you go into therapy, then you quit, you go back, you quit. And I didn't go back into therapy until I was 46 years old. I'd seen psychotherapists, didn't even know what a psychotherapist was at 46. I've seen psychiatrists and psychologists. There's no medicine for MPD. There's talk therapy, and you have to stay in it. You have to be open. You have to be honest. You have to answer questions. You have to ask questions. You have to do homework. And it's not easy because narcissistic people are those people that run away from themselves. They run away from their childhood. And then the last thing they want to do is face somebody, just pointing the finger at them, or even just say, you know, giving a constructive criticism. So I didn't want to do that. But in the military, we're held accountable with our issues, whether it be anger issues, domestic violence, narcissism, whatever. Therapy, you have to go, you have to show up, you have to stay, you have to complete it.
You know, I meant to ask you last time. Oh, and for everyone, I'm going to put part one of Leon and out in my discussion that we had, our conversation, and you can always go back and look. I meant to ask you, in the military with therapy, does everyone have to take it, or is it
No,
just as needed, or
no,
as they feel it's needed?
it's as needed. Their
That's wild
class,
to me.
yeah, yeah. So what happens is we as leaders, we have to, leadership is not just telling people what to do. It's understanding people, understanding personalities, taking care of people, knowing their families, finding out what's wrong with them, getting them help. Okay. So you may know that a person is abusive, verbally abusive, aggressive, has to want to win all the time, loves the attention. It's like, well, look, man, why do you act like this? Why don't you go see a counselor? No, you know what? Matter of fact, I'm giving direct orders. So the captain will tell people or recommend that, hey, you enroll in therapy. And then people find out I'm either schizophrenic, narcissistic, sociopath, psychopath, I have anger issues, whatever. And so you go, and in the military, NPD is not direct, it's not related to a disability yet. But say, for instance, you go for PTSD, that's related to a disability. So in order for you to get your disability rating and get paid for it, you have to complete your therapy. It's the same thing with NPD. It's the same thing with anger issues. You complete classes, courses. You have to show up.
Right. But I would think that just being in the military itself, anyone can benefit from therapy.
Yeah. Because we get the reason why we have the best is because doctors and dentists work in the military because they can't be sued. There's no malpractice, so they can make a mistake. Like they misdiagnosed me. My narcissism was found early on. My PTSD wasn't found until 27 years after it happened. And
Really?
yeah, and they gave me
Huh.
$10,000. They gave me $9,500 for missing my PTSD. It should have been found in 1987, but they didn't find it until 2018. Yeah.
I did not know that.
I never bring it up, but we can talk about it. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so they said, hey, we're sorry, we misdiagnosed your PTSD, and we will give you back pay. So they gave me a check for 9,500. So yeah, doctors and dentists and lawyers and stuff, they a lot of them use the military to pay for their education, but it also covers their malpractice. There's no malpractice, or they'll get their insurance is paid. So it's a good way to go.
I did not know that. Not even with the, okay. Now that you say that, because I do know several dentists that were in the military. It just clicked in my head. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So our last conversation, we talked about your early childhood with your mom and I want to say your grandfather, but we're going to talk about your early childhood with your father. But before we get into the father, I want to ask you a question. I meant to ask you last time about your mom. One of your videos talked about breadcrumbing, and you got that from your mother. Can you explain that?
Yeah.
And what
So
breadcrumb is and
right.
how all that works?
So breadcrumbing, what happens is, and it's not like my mom did on purpose, but in the beginning of the relationship, say for instance, narcissistically speaking, from the love bombing, you give a woman all of this time and quality time and attention and affection, and you showing up early and you texting and you calling and you're there, right? You're present. And then you pull back, and then she starts to complain. Then you're like, okay, you give a little more. Then she say, okay, and then a few days later you go back to your old ways. And she complains again, you give her a little more, but you're not giving her what you gave her in the beginning. It's not full blown. It's just to give her a little bit, a taste of what she was missing, what she liked, what she wanted, and what she desired. And you give her a little bit at a time, and then you disappear. And when she complains, you come back and give it to her again. It's just a cat and mouse game. But they get addicted to it because either one, she hasn't had it in a long time. She's never had it. She's never been treated that way. Then I pop up. I treat her that way for a good 60 days. And then I ghost her. And then I start to gaslight her, right? And then I breadcrumb her. And for me, I have a racist appetite for women. I was very greedy. So I could do it for months and years with the same woman or same women. It was gonna always be 4 or 5 women. It didn't matter who.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I and I was gonna ask you, does that become exhausting, or is it the
No,
cat and mouse that keeps the
no,
energy going?
it's right. It's not. It keeps the energy going. It's motivating because remember, it pays into my ego to have a woman chasing after me. So with my mom, she did a lot as a mother, and then when my parents got divorced, she was gone. And then, she wanted me to pay her rent, so I paid her rent. Actually, I wanted to pay my mother's rent. She allowed me to pay her rent from 92 to 94. And then she just stopped paying them rent and she started getting high. She got high before that, 10 years before that. But it was like my mother would pop up and then go away. And she knew that I needed, so I need a mother, And
How do you know
Papa,
she wanted? How did she know that you wanted it or needed it? What
well,
did you feel?
well, it's like my mother was always nice to me. My sister says I was a favorite child. So my mother never screamed at me that I can remember after age 11. Nothing happened. My mother was like, I did what I wanted to do. She never yelled at me. She never put me down. She never called me names. She didn't spank me after 11. Probably after 8 or 9, my mother, I was just a kid to do what I wanted to do. And so we had like this understanding that I was the golden child and I did what I wanted to do.
Oh,
And so I felt like I could do it. So with that being said, when she left, I couldn't find my mother. So every time I would come home on leave from the Navy, I look for my mom. I find her, and she would just be like nonchalant, knowing that she was gone, knowing that she was a crackhead, knowing that she was absent, knowing that she wasn't there. She knew I'm like, Mom, I won Sailor of the Year. I want to show you my trophies, or I won Recruiter of the Year. I want you to come to the banquet. Gone. All men and young little boys want their mother's approval. They want the validation. The dad, yeah, but they really want the mother's approval and validation. And that probably comes from being in her womb. It comes from being in her womb through
mm,
the placenta and umbilical cord, the nurturing, and you develop that closest from your mom. When through being birthed and nurtured and then breastfed or mommy's always there. And
right.
you develop that connection, that closeness, and then when she's gone, it was like you look for mom, then you become super pissed because mom is not there. And then you look for mom and your girlfriend, or you look for mom and your girlfriend's mother. The mother's going to be there because their girlfriends, none of my girlfriend's mothers were crackheads. It was just my mom. So they were
Mm,
there. They were there for me. So I fell in love with my girlfriend's moms more than I fell in love with my girlfriends.
really?
Yeah. Because I didn't, girlfriends were easy for me, Ursula. Mothers were hard for me to get. My mother was gone. So I was like searching for that. I'm not bragging, but women were always easy for me to get. So it's like,
Right.
I got you. That's nothing. I need love. I need caring. And so I was absent of love and caring, hence narcissism.
So I can see your point when you're wanting that mother's love and you're finding it in women, but and that validation. But did you ever want that validation from males, or was it at a lesser degree?
That was a lesser degree. Males are like either going to be beneath me or competitive, competitive enough to make me outdo them. And then, but the females were where I got my motivation from to outdo males and be competitive. It wasn't the males. They were just
Wow.
like there to either to drive me further and to be better by virtue of proximity, them showing up where I was in the same program, in the same school. But I did it for the attention from the women and my
Mm,
mom, but she wasn't there. So whoever I was dating and her mother, it was like I needed that. I couldn't if I didn't have the validation or verification or justification from a woman, it wasn't important to me.
okay, so that makes sense why the serial cheating, just
Right,
getting those dopamine hits, because
right.
if one woman couldn't get it or give it to you, then you get it from another woman, and
Yeah.
then the cycle,
It's
right?
constant. It's consistent. That's why I did a video on this. That's why it's hard. That's why narcissistic people struggle in marriage. Marriage is not an important thing. My parents' marriage wasn't important to me as a kid. How could it be when by the time I turned 11, by the time I was 9, they were on their way out. So 9 years of living with my parents, and all of a sudden, and some of it was tumultuous, some of it was violent. So you really think I have an idea of what a husband is supposed to be? No.
Right, right.
Yeah. Hence narcissism, not want to be married, not want to commit, right? Avoidance issues, attachment issues, right?
Mhm.
Emotionally detached. I wasn't attached to nothing and nobody, myself. Hence narcissism.
So I always wondered how narcissists, because of the detachment, why would they get married? I can see how kids can
Well,
be a byproduct, but
yeah, but they
that's a
get
commitment.
what happens is the greed and the lust. So I got married because I didn't want anybody else to have her. I was gonna still cheat.
Damn. Yeah.
I knew that, but you think I'm gonna tell her that? No, because I want to keep her, and then I got her, and I cheated and destroyed my marriage. Me and my
How long
ex-wife
were
were
you married?
12, almost 12 years.
Okay. So what was the most challenging part about the breadcrumbing and not the breadcrumb, well, yeah, the breadcrumbing, but the cycle of partners that you had?
There was no challenge. It was fun. So now, right? So here's the thing, Ursula. This you have to understand. Well,
Mhm.
you don't have to, but please understand that
Yeah.
narcissists speak to me, being an overt narcissist, right? I didn't care about getting caught because I'm gonna talk my way out of it. You have to remember that the women that I was dating were just people that were I'm not gonna say like me because I couldn't handle women like me. They would piss me off too bad. Narcissistic women, I couldn't stand them.
Was
But the
it too
women,
much of a challenge?
it was because it was like hitting. It was cat and mouse, and it was like drain. It's like whatever. You like me, I like you. You don't like me, I don't like you. I'm a ghost you, ghost me. It was a challenge. They were too much like me, and I didn't like it. So it was
Right.
like fighting attrition. But the women that were not like me, that were easier, that were broken like me, that were dysfunctional, low self-esteem, no confidence, they're easy to manage, and they're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to leave me because they've been left before. So we share that fear of abandonment. So even when I got to the point where I started saying that, telling women that, hey, you're not the only one, just so you know. And I didn't care. I was very cocky, very arrogant, and
Right.
I didn't fear getting caught. I didn't fear the wrath of God. I didn't fear anything. I didn't fear any consequences. So it was like if there were consequences, it became to whereas I was addicted to danger and I liked the consequences if there were going to be consequences.
I remember you talking about that part, the
Mhm.
danger part. All right, we have a question from a viewer. And Kenya, this is not a silly question. I never thought about this. She said this may be a silly question, but did you ever have a connection with a pet or an animal?
Yeah. So narcissistic people really like, I think, unconditional, I'm not going to call it love, but unconditional care, unconditional understanding.
Mm,
Like dogs, you can yell at a dog, spank a dog, they'll run away, they'll always come back. You get your anger out on them. I was never abusive to animals. I did enjoy animals. We had cats and dogs. I have a dog now. I don't like snakes. I don't like killing roaches. I don't like killing ants. I don't like killing bees. So yeah, that's not a silly question. It's a good question.
it is a
Um,
great question. I never thought about that.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
anyone who does have a pet or loves pets, there is that feeling, that same dopamine rush, those
Mhm.
endorphins come out. So that's
Right.
actually a great question.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Patrice. She's been on my show a while ago.
Hmm.
So, let's talk about your childhood with your dad growing up,
Hmm.
and how did that turn you into the person you are today with your personality, your
Yeah.
character,
Right. So my dad
characteristics?
was very extreme. My dad was the verbal abuser. He never told me he loved me. Never those words never came out of my dad's mouth. But he was a shower of love, what I thought was love. So my thing was when I had started having children, I provided. That was my way of showing love, and I didn't start telling my kids I love them until my ex-wife one day was like, "Hey, Leon, you know we haven't said we loved each other in a long time." And I was like, dang, I didn't even know. I did because love, saying the word love didn't mean absolutely nothing to me.
Mm,
I didn't feel it. People, and I told them, I said, if you tell me you love me, there's a chance I'm going to leave you right now. I would tell them. I told them that. They were
did
like,
they
what?
stay?
Yeah, they stayed because they didn't believe me. But I was absent once they said it. I'm like, okay, so you think I'm playing? Now I'm gonna show you, and I would. I
Mhm.
wasn't physically abusive at all. I was verbally abusive, but I was mentally abusive by being absent and cheating and lying and ghosting and disappearing. And saying you love me scared me. And I remember saying that as a teenager. Don't tell me you love me. I don't want to hear that. I remember saying that. And women is like, what?
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're like, what? And so I was always afraid of that because it's like now I got to say it to her. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how it feels. I don't know what love means. I have no idea. Now I do. It's still hard, but going through therapy, I can understand, this is a reciprocity type of thing. I
Right.
explain to my new girlfriend, the new wife, whenever she may come, that, hey, this is my way of loving or trying to loving or understand or really liking you in a certain way. Don't ask me over and over again about love. I don't want to talk about it. And so that came from not having that as a child.
This is great that you brought this up because I have group therapy every week and that topic came up. So, and now I have you on the show tonight. So, this is actually great
Mm-hmm.
to ask you, when your partner tells you that they love you, what does that trigger feel like? I know what you're
Um,
saying to them, but what is that what is that feeling to you?
it's like a
Or
feeling
the
of,
thoughts in your head?
it's like, man, this is eternal. Yeah, yeah,
Really?
yeah. I remember. That's a great question because I remember that, and I was like, I'm like, what's wrong? I couldn't even hide the fact that I didn't want to hear that word love. I love you, Leon. And I was like, why?
Right.
What did you get out of saying it? I get nothing out of saying it. That's what I was thinking. And she would say it. All of my exes told me that until they just like, well, I ain't gonna say I love you anymore because you obviously don't want to hear it. I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Right, right. That's interesting because it makes you feel uncomfortable. However, you do want that love.
Yeah, it was more of the admiration.
Mm,
I wanted to be her world. So you could say, I admire you, Leon. You admire everything. And that was like, oh, that was at home for me. That was like my ego, right?
right.
Because it was like absent of love. So I thought, but they still want to say it. But I'm like, don't say it. Just say what I want you to say, and we're good.
Right. So how did it make you feel when you knew you were hurting people emotionally
I
or
didn't
even
care. Ursula.
yourself?
There was nothing. There was no feeling there. Like it was their fault that they got hurt. I didn't show up to hurt you, but you triggered me, so you got hurt. So this is what you get. I didn't. It didn't. It's like I'm smiling now and I'm not laughing, but it's like I'm thinking back on like years of like hurting people. It didn't bother me, not at all. It was like breathing. It's like nothing.
Right.
Yeah, it's like yeah, okay, whatever. So what?
So
Yeah,
there was no guilt or shame
no,
associated with it?
zero, and yeah, and it's like why should I connect to that? Because that takes me down a different path that I don't want to go. That's your path. You're hurting. I'm not gonna go down that path and hurt with you. You shouldn't have pissed me off. That type of thing.
Right,
And
right.
that would fly off my tongue. I'm not like that now. I'm more like understanding and like I process it. I'm like, okay, let me just think. Let me before I say anything, or let me just console, or let me hug. But before, it's like I don't have time for hurt. You know,
Right.
people hurt me as
Mhm.
a kid. You think I'm gonna go over here and hug you and experience that pain? My pain was worse than yours. Shut up and quit crying. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, that's how it
Right.
was. Yeah.
Right. We have another question. OG Patrice said, do most NPD individuals have some form of addictions?
OG Patrice, that's my girl. She good people. I've been on her show like 4 or 5 times recently. So yeah, we get it in.
She's
Oh yeah,
amazing.
yeah. There are a lot of addictions. So what happens is a lot of times narcissistic people get upset when they're triggered and they want to go to their addictions, whether it's cigarettes, cigars, porn, wine, weed, heroin, right, meth, whatever, yelling, screaming, making you hurt, putting you down. Yeah, that addiction is like a good feeling. It's a fulfillment. Rather, I'm doing it because you pissed me off, or I'm doing it because I want it right now. Um, I'm doing it because I can. I'm doing it because you don't like it. I'm doing it to hurt your feelings.
Right.
Leon, I'm tired of you smoking cigarettes. So what? I'm gonna smoke another just because you open your mouth.
Right. Did
But
you
the
see that?
addiction,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, you good. The addictions are rampant, run rampant, and they did it mean, yeah.
Hmm. Sex definitely is an addiction as well. I had read somewhere how this individual, he was very uncomfortable speaking about his feelings because he didn't understand his own feelings, but he knew something just was different. So he would go on his rampage with his partner, but the only way he said that he felt like he could actually communicate was through sex, but there was no verbal communication.
I was quiet during sex all my life because when I was
Mm,
molested, I remember being told to be quiet, and that kind of went into my sex life. Women would ask me, Leon, man, did you enjoy it? I'm like, yeah, why? I was silent
right.
because not only because I was molested, because that's a form of expression. And I'm not to be like, I'm not about to, ooh, ah, baby, I love you. Oh, that wasn't coming out of my mouth. I will
Right.
satisfy you in other ways, and you be happy with that because you're not gonna hear me talk. Women all my life, Leon, you quiet. You didn't say anything when we were having sex. Did you enjoy it? What did I do wrong? And then we
Hmm.
get mad. I'm like, look, we had sex. It was great. You ooh and ah, so leave it alone. But yeah,
Right.
I was not expressing myself at all.
So back to the communication. Did you mirror that from your parents as far as how they interacted with each other?
More than yeah, yeah. I can remember everything about my parents. Yeah, there was no. I never sat at the table with my wife and kids and prayed before we ate. 12 years. My parents never did that,
My parents didn't either.
and so I couldn't stand when people would pray before we ate. I was like, why? Yeah, yeah. So I emulated. I mirrored my parents' um, performance and progress in marriage. Yeah, I did
Mm. That
easily too.
easily what?
I mimicked what they did. It was natural for me. That was my norm.
So I'm gonna share my transparent moment because you just triggered something in my head. I remember growing up and when we would have family dinner, I remember my father actively going in another room to watch TV and eat his dinner while my mom and I stayed in the kitchen
Mhm.
and we had that. And I remember, I don't know if she asked or I asked because it was so long ago, like, why don't you come and sit with us?
Right.
It was World War III up in there
Oh yeah.
just because that question was asked,
Right.
and that was the norm. So for what? Oh, I just thought about this. There would be family dinner at the table if we had company, because now we had to perform for everyone and how we're, the Huxtables.
Right.
Right. So there we go. Um, we have another question. Uh, do NPD individuals ever miss that one that got away?
Yeah. Hell yeah. I'm sorry, Ursula, but hell yeah. For me, for me, it was like probably three, and uh, yeah, that hurts bad.
What's going on in your brain now? Because I can see it on your face.
Now I'm wondering where she is. I think about, I'm like, man, what is he doing? How is he treating the house? How does he turn out? Because I've always had good women. I'm like, I would let go of one or I was always getting rid of them. But, and I'm a wonder, like, was I like, what is he getting from her? Because I was always trying to drive women crazy. And a lot of times I was with them just for sexual reasons and just to exploit them. And I never really got to know them. So now it's like, you did what? You married who? You did what? I didn't see that in you, but it was there. But I was always consumed with who I was with them and not who they were with me.
Mm,
I had to be their world. So automatically she's going to perform for me. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. But that's because I had to manipulate her into doing certain things by making her think we were going to be together for a long period of time. It wasn't going to happen.
wow. Yeah, your face showed everything.
Yeah, that was a good question because I think about them. I did a video about that. There's always in my life there was always three women that I I regret, like hurting and pushing away and ghosting, and as yeah, And it's like, man, yeah. But I don't like thinking about it because I can attach my emotions to it, and I'm good at not attaching my emotions to things. So I'm not worried about sulking and hurting and crying later on tonight.
You
That
just
ain't gonna
turn it
happen.
off.
Yeah, you turn it off. That's why I don't want to. Through therapy and practicing and doing these videos, I could turn off a lot of things. I could turn on a lot of things, and it would be legit, like totally disconnected or connected to reconnect to have her come back to me and then disconnect again. I could do that, but I don't want to do it. I don't. I really don't. I don't.
So I'm glad you said that. So what has been some of the most challenging aspects of trying to manage your narcissistic traits?
Being lonely, because before being a horse promiscuous guy, I was never lonely. I had access to all kind of women. I mean, like white women, Asian women, black women, of course, Latin women. It didn't matter. And now I'm talking all this stuff. I'm doing all these videos. I can't, because if I go back to being promiscuous, I'm going to go back to gaslighting and ghosting and giving this time. I'm going to go right back to it because I'm not going to be committing to 5, 6 women. They're going to be just additional supply. So I'm going to be lying again, deceiving again, broken promises. I'm not going out. Now I'm too tired. Not that I'm older, but I don't have the nerve and courage to do it. When I was younger, I had a lot of nerve, a lot of courage to do those things, and it was fun. It was a
Right.
sport. Yeah.
So what advice would you give anyone who they may not be diagnosed with MPD, but maybe they have some narcissistic tendencies, whether they're strong or subtle? I think we all have subtle, or we all
Hmm.
have narcissistic tendencies, but some
Right.
that are very high. Like what advice would you offer someone?
To get help, to sit down and talk to someone, because without help, without the talk therapy, without people exposing you and you being okay with it, you're gonna hide it. You're gonna keep doing it. It's not gonna stop. I
Mm,
tell people, they say, well, why it's so hard to stop? Yeah, it's hard because I was getting a lot of attention, Ursula, and I was being awarded and rewarded and promoted, and people were paying into me, stroking my ego, kissing my butt. I was getting
right.
paid well. I was getting a lot of attention. You really think I wanted that to stop?
And we talked about that last time in part one on how you were rewarded
Well, I was
for
rewarded.
the behavior.
Yeah.
Interesting. And we have another. OG is coming up with some very good questions. She asked, "What do you do when you think your child may be a narc?"
I think that all three of my kids got quite a few traits. I know for a fact. I think the one is it's between my daughter and my oldest son. My daughter's 27, 28. My son's 27. She about to be 27, 28 Saturday. It's between those two for sure. Um, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. I know it. I see it. I see the lack of empathy. They don't care about love. My daughter has a daughter, so that helps her out. Without that daughter, yeah, I see 100%. I know for a fact, and I'm not a psychotherapist, a psychiatrist, a college therapist. I know for a fact that they have it and they need to get into therapy. But it's this new generation, the
Hmm.
narcissistic numbers, MPD numbers are going to go up. I guarantee you that
Why do you
for
say that?
because it's like a badge of honor to say I'm narcissistic for them. Because lack of empathy, they don't have to care. They like not caring, but they want others to care about them. That's their grandiose mindset, right?
Mm,
Okay, greed, lust, um, overbearing, egotistical, self-centered, selfish,
controlling.
controlling. Yes, this whole generation. And the reason why the numbers are going to go up, you know why? My 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 generation, it was for black men, it was taboo to go into therapy.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Yeah, it is like
Now
that now. I
now
think.
you think about it. Well, yeah, but now these kids will go into therapy because it gives them a day out for work, a day out of school, right? Look how easy it is we have to accept transgenders, which I'm fine with. We have to accept male and female marriages, which I'm fine with that. But they're okay. It's okay to be who you are, who you feel that you are. Rather, my generation thinks it's abnormal or not. They think it's okay and it's normal for them to be this whatever they want to be, the gender. I want to be called Miss, so I want to be called highly intelligent. I want to be called a lady. My name is Brenda. Whatever. We have to
Mhm.
accept it. So these kids are brought up in a society where we thought things were abnormal if you were gay or bi or transgender, bisexual, whatever. But it's normal now, and so you can't question it. Don't ask, don't tell. You can't question. So they have a lot of rights. They can do what they want when they want. They're not even working 8 hours a day. They're not working 40 hours a week. They're making videos and getting rich off of that. So yeah, these kids, this generation is going to be. If they choose to go sit down and get therapy, they will, because it's like a badge of honor to be considered narcissistic. Look at all the kids who got ADD and ADHD. They'll brag about it. Well, I got
Right.
ADD, so I can't do this. Well, I didn't take my pills, so my mom needs to come to my school and take me home. F you, and they curse an adult. Yeah, this generation is going to blow the numbers up for MPD if they start to go get therapy. Yeah.
Mm. So let's talking about therapy. Um, I do feel that there is an uptick with it being socially acceptable, especially with our brothers that talk about mental health, mental illness, therapy. Um, what would you tell a black man who is against going to therapy or think, oh, I can therapize myself or
No, he
pray
can't
it
because he.
away.
No, he can't because he's not going to criticize himself. In therapy, you get criticized.
Ooh, that's
Yeah,
good.
he ain't gonna do it. He ain't. That's why he's not doing it now, because he knows what's gonna happen in talk therapy. You got to answer questions. You have to go back to your childhood. I was like, she's like, Leon, next week we're gonna talk about your mother. I was like, no, 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 the hell we not. I didn't say that, but I was thinking, no, I'm not
Yeah.
coming back. But I had to go back because when I didn't show up to therapy, she emailed my captain, and he's like, hey, Mr. Walker, you don't need to go to the hospital. I'm like, man, would you just leave me the hell alone? But
Right, right.
yeah, they're not going to take the credit. They're going to criticize themselves. They don't listen, Ursa. I've been doing this for 27 months. And in
Hmm.
27 months, I've amassed 420,000 followers, listeners. And at 420,000 followers, listeners, I've had 7 men reach out to me. 7. And out of those 7, 3 are
Wow.
consistent. And those 3 consistent black men are under the age of 40. So do
Wow.
you really think black men want to hear what I have to say? No. 99.9% of my followers are women.
Mm.
And I'm a man talking about the things that I did as a man. You would think men would be like, oh, cool, Leon, thank you, man. You gave me courage to make a video. You don't see men like me and Lee Hammock making videos, black men. No. The black men you see, man, you talking about, the black men you see talking about, the black men that you see talking about narcissism is because they were victims by narcissistic women. So they claim, but all those women diagnosed narcissistic women. We don't know. But
Right.
they're doing the videos about it. But you don't see other black men that are diagnosed narcissistic diagnosed men because they haven't gone to therapy. They don't sit there. They're afraid of the constructive criticism. They're afraid of the truth. And so was I.
And so was I because therapy, now this was or is my experience because I still go to my group therapy. Shout out to Sarita Yvonne. However, when you hold a mirror to yourself, that is the most uncomfortable feeling ever.
Yeah.
Just having that, for me, it was, but it's as uncomfortable as it wasn't that uncomfortable for me to not want to show up and come back to therapy. But on the other side of having some self-awareness about yourself, I feel like that's one of the what the goal at the end of the other side of the rainbow. You get it?
Right.
Because becoming self-aware and learning about yourself, for me, it had ceased several of the toxic cycles that I was enduring and putting myself in subconsciously. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, you do it. And now I was still find myself complaining about my ex-wife. But it's like, dude, stop. You caused her to become that person. I did. It's like, yeah, all right, I did. But when I was in the Navy,
Uh-huh.
I ain't gonna nobody gonna criticize me, even though they might have been right. I did not want to hear it. That's why from age 20 to 45, 46, those men will not go into therapy because they don't want to hear. I wasn't ready to hear it at 46. but I was in the military, so it was like, look, you need to go. If you're not in the military, who's going to hold you accountable? Not your wife or husband. They've been telling you to go for years. You still ain't gonna go. So age is 20 to like I use 20 to 46 because that was my time of my narcissistic personality disorder, 22 to 46, where I was untreated. So I
Mm-hmm.
know what these men out here that have the traits that I have, or they got 7 traits or 8 traits or 4 traits. I know how they think.
Right.
I know exactly. I talked to a lady today. I'd never met this lady before in my life. And we started talking, and I told her about her boyfriend. And she's like,
Oh,
everything I said is, he's 29. I said, this is what he's going to do. She's like, he did that. This is what he's going to do. I said, yeah,
wow.
we do, Ursula, we do the same thing.
It
And
is
I,
a yeah.
and I told her about herself. I said, when he does it, you get mad, you cry, you tell him to leave, you miss him, you text him, you call him back, you curl up in the ball and you cry, and you go take him some food, you send him some money in his cash out, and it starts over, you have sex. And she started, it's like, would you just stop? Because I can't handle this. I said, well, you called me and you wanted me to tell you the truth. She said, I know I need to hear this, but it just hurts because it is the truth. She said, it seems like you just right here in our bedroom watching us talk and fight. I'm like, I don't care if he's a 6'8" that vampire, right? Viking, white guy with blue eyes. If he's narcissistic, I know what he's going to do. I know how he's thinking.
Yeah. That's real. That's real. Um, we have viewer questions, but before we do, so I want to let everyone know. I just told Leon this when we had our part one. My inbox was going off. People were asking me questions. And can you ask him this next time? Can you ask him? So this is just a few questions. But before we tap on that, I wanted to get your thoughts on empathy as far as how it looks now versus how it used to look.
For me,
Yes.
oh, before it was like, you need to get the hell away from me with that. Oh yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. And I got reported when I was in the Navy that he don't care. He's bipolar. He's too hard on us. He doesn't have empathy. He doesn't have sympathy. He doesn't feel bad for people. And I was like, so MF what? You know, I'm getting
Right.
promoted, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have time to deal with people that were crying and all this stuff. I was like, get over it. If I made it, you can. I've been molested. I got, my uncle was touching me. My parents got divorced. My daddy died of alcohol. My mother died from crack. Get over it. I don't want to hear your problems, buddy. But now it's like, so I didn't give myself a chance to connect to empathy and realize that I was hurting people. I ain't had time for that. Oh
Mm,
no, because it's like I got to sit down and hear your BS, which my leaders, senior leaders used to say, man, you know, I told this one kid, I said, look, man, when you come to work tomorrow, before you get here, I want you to drive your truck off that bridge. Okay.
what?
Yeah.
Wait, say that again. Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. I said it.
God damn.
That's how bad it was, Ursula. I said
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And he tried it.
Wait, what did he say? What was his response?
He tried to do it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and you know what was bad about it?
Oh,
What was bad about it is that um
oh,
I saw the accident on the way to work and I didn't know it was him.
oh, he tried it.
He tried it. And so I got to work and my boss said, did you tell him? I'm like, yeah. He said, man, that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing it. And that was it. Wasn't held accountable. And he and I talked to this day. And I was like, every time he calls me or reaches out, I'm like, man, what the hell was I thinking? Yeah, I told him that.
Did y'all ever talk about that conversation?
Mm-mm.
Well, in now that it's over, like,
No, no, I'm afraid. I'm afraid because I'm glad that he's still my friend now. But before, I didn't care about him being my friend. He worked for me. And I didn't, I didn't, I didn't know the impact, the power of my words, negative words.
oh,
I didn't know. Yeah, I
that
didn't.
is a word right there.
I said things to my kids too, Ursula, and now I'm like, and even now, I have an urge to say things to. I ain't gonna lie, it's not even to motivate them; it was to hurt them. But I don't say it. I don't. I'm like, no, that's not cool, dude. That's no, don't. And I can give people advice on not to do things and not say things. I know how that person's going to feel when you say it. I was that guy that said those things. And I would just sit there and watch people cry, watch women cry after I hurt them. I was very, very demonic. Demons are punks
Why do you say that?
because they're created. I was created to become this bad person, this demon. I made myself become this person, but there was no strength in doing it. Only time I had strength in becoming demonic is when you believed it.
Oh wow. Like almost like a leech. You know how leech they
Hmm.
grab onto you and suck that blood.
They can only do it if you let them suck the blood. You pull them off, they're gonna find somebody else to suck on.
So were the kids, even if they're adult kids, was that an easier, I don't know, an easier target as opposed to your partners?
It didn't matter. It was a feeling, emotion I desired to get from hurting people's feelings. It didn't matter who it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was a euphoric feeling. It's like a high that I had to feel and I had to get, and I could get it.
Mm. I'm processing a lot because I'm thinking
Mhm.
about definitely two individuals that I know. So this is a lot of insight. I'm gonna read this. I found this on your page. This was so insightful, talking about jealousy.
Mhm.
Oh, and by the way, anyone, I've already put Leon's contact info in the show description. I definitely want you to go and visit his page. His videos are very insightful and it gives you a lot of aha moments. It gives me a lot of aha moments. But on your community page, you put, if you're with a person that's jealous of your looks, job, education, money, house, car, etc., and you're humble while giving them a chance, they will mistreat you to make themselves feel better about not being equal or better than you. Leave them alone. It's only resentment.
100%. They're not genuinely liking and caring for what you've attained, and they will make you small. They will put you down. It's going to come out because your success is just too much for them. Your looks, your beauty, your intellect, your degrees, your nice house, your car. It's like I don't have those things. Well, I I got a
Oh,
cousin. I got a cousin that's like that. Those are vulnerable narcissists. When narcissists first came out in the '80s, they called them vulnerable narcissists.
what
And I
is
learned
that? I've
it's
heard of
like
it, but I don't know exactly.
yeah, it's like they want the attention. They need the attention. What was me? I should have done this because of the world. This happened for me. I have a cousin, a male cousin, that's like that right now.
So is it that they live in their victimhood?
Exactly. And
Mm.
they will Ursula. They are easy to identify. Very easy to identify. And you know what's easy with them? It's easy to play with them
Why do you say that?
because you can test them. You can give them something. You can make them feel bad. Just like that. I do it with my cousin, and I don't do it that much. I kind of toy around with them, but we're cool, and so I don't. I try not to go too deep with them. But they're very easy to demotivate. Their feelings get hurt easy. They're highly angry. They're very very vulnerable. They have
Where
addictions.
where does the anger come from?
What they used to be, and they're not that anymore. And then so they didn't do anything beyond that.
I just had the hugest aha moment.
You got somebody around you like that.
You said me?
No, somebody around you. You probably have somebody around you like that, or dealt with somebody.
Yes. And
Yeah.
oh my God, my head is just blown open. You know, the language that they use all the time on what they used to do. I remember when I used to X, I remember when I used to play X, everything was back. Everything was what they used to do.
Because moving forward they have nothing. And a lot of times those people wind up going to jail, losing jobs, gaining a lot of weight, losing a lot of weight, losing their family, their kids, paying a lot of child support, alimony, and they wind up losing in life because they never attained what they thought they could attain. But then they didn't shift and keep going. They quit on life. They quit on themselves. And now they come and use you. They'll take your money. They'll borrow your money. They'll ask you to cook for them, all of that. Yeah.
My head is blown. Everything you just named, except for two, that's exactly how they are.
Yeah.
My head has blown open right now.
They
I
are.
am definitely going to process this now.
Mhm.
Wow.
And so now you start looking at
Ah,
other. Now you're going to start looking at other people. Just listen to the conversations, right? Watch how they move. Watch how they treat you, right? They're going to give you a little bit, then they're going to want 4 times in return. Even though they owe you more and what they did for you was minimal, they're going to want 4 to 5 times more over and over. I got people in my family like that. And it's like,
me too.
I just wait. It's so the thing, I know who they are. They know who they are, but they're going to still do it because they haven't really dealt with why they do it. And I see it and I'm like, okay, I have quite a few friends like that.
Mm.
And I know
Woo.
that if I say, hey, I'm coming to town, they gearing up. So I'll
Why do
come
you
in
say
town
that? With
because
the
they know that like we're gonna go out. I'm gonna pay for everything. I'm gonna pick them up. I'm gonna drive them around. I might give them a pair of shoes. I might take them around some women. Whatever. They're gonna benefit off. They're gonna benefit off of me.
wow.
So I'll come in town and then won't even contact me. Then I'll leave town. They go, where you at, man? I'm like, man, I came and left already, cuz.
Hmm. You see the look on your face.
Yeah, it's vindictive. But
Hell
those are
no.
they're narcissistic people, so I don't have a problem with messing with them. Yeah.
Your face says everything.
Hmm.
Wow. That is wild. Even down to the gaining weight and loss of a job. My
It's
head is
like,
blown right
yeah,
there.
it's like they're in a certain category where these are what's going to happen if you're this person. It's like you can call them out now.
Mm,
You see them, and then you can look at the list of things that I name. And matter of fact, you can sit there and you might think about that person for a half hour, and you can come up with a list of things, and and it'll be the same list for the next person. It's just like the male or female, it doesn't matter.
it's a textbook. It's a textbook case. It really
Mhm.
is. I
Yeah.
encourage the chat right now. If you all have any light bulb moments that Leon is tapping into, I encourage you to put it in the chat. You can be as vague or descriptive as you like. And okay, chat, I'm coming to you now. You have more questions. Do does NPD individuals always have a plan when seeking another person to devour?
One hundred
Thank you,
percent,
Patrice.
24/7. It doesn't stop.
I agree. I feel that they look for like the most emotionally hanging fruit.
Yeah, the easy ones. Yeah, we don't like to work hard at getting something, not at all. Except that at work, when there's something to get out of it, like a promotion, some money, or
Mm,
prestige. But a supply for me, a woman, it was never hard for me. If it's hard,
right.
if it's hard, I'm not going to work at it. I'm gonna lose interest and I'm gonna hurt your feelings on the way out until you allow it to be easy.
Mm. OG Patrice said covert narcs are also called vulnerable narcs. Speaking of that, were you, or if you want to share, which, I don't know what the word is, which type of
Yeah,
narcissism or,
overt. So what happens is they don't like come out and tell you, boom, bam. They kind of like ease things in. It's like, Mr. Walker, next week we'll talk about this and then these traits and then this your personality. We'll talk about it's a little bit of the time, but you have overt, which I am covert. You have communal. You have antagonistical. You have it
hmm,
changed from vulnerable to all of these other ones, but overt, covert, communal, I think, and antagonistical. And so then
there's
there's
a
like
few I
other
haven't heard of before.
yeah, then it's like
Interesting.
subcategories. But yeah, they like I never knew until years later that my record says therapy for this patient. PX means patient. Therapy for this PX is indefinite, and indefinite is in all capital letters and bold letters. So I was,
Damn.
yeah, right. So they didn't tell me that. So you go in every week for an hour, And then after a year, it's like, okay, Mr. Walker, I'll see you next month or whatever, whatever. I
Right.
just happened to look at my medical record. I'm like, what? I didn't. They don't. She didn't tell me that. They don't tell you certain things. It's like, I guess it's because it's embarrassing or they want people to freak out. But yeah, with your diagnosis, they'll give you now. I think now they give out letters and they say, this person's been diagnosed with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, and according to the DSM-5 or DSM-3, blah 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 blah.
Right.
5 or 6 lines. But yeah, when I got mine, it wasn't like descriptive at all. But my therapy, anybody that's narcissistic, therapy is indefinite.
All right, because you can't take medication for it. It's more of a characteristic, I'm
Yeah, it's
thinking.
like a pattern. Yeah, it's a characteristic. It's a pattern that you
Yeah.
like. It's been ingrained in my brain since I was a kid, and so that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another a benign narc. I've heard of that, but I'm not sure exactly what that is, but I'm definitely going to look that up. Let's see. I've heard of malignant and dealt, yeah, I have experience with the malignant, altruistic and somatic narcissist.
Yeah, those subcategories. Yeah.
Love Joy, thank you. I got a lot of work to do. I enjoy understanding. I can always when I can put language to what I've experienced, that helps with my healing. What about you?
Yeah. So you can see it. So what you start doing now is you look at those vulnerable ones, and you start. It's not that you can diagnose people, but you can make yourself safe from anybody.
Yes, I love that. Safe.
Hmm.
So I'm going to share this with you. Um, the narcissist that I know, there was this big blowout or argument, and this wasn't too long ago. It was right before the pandemic.
Hmm.
And I remember, and I was already deep into therapy. And when I realized, I believe that this person is definitely they are fluid with the covert, overt, because I can see it depending on who we are around.
Hmm.
Anyway, for the first time ever, I saw him as the little boy, the abandoned little boy that he is. I don't even want to say was, but that he is, even though he's a much older person. And it, my trigger reaction was different. I didn't match the energy with, the anger with anger. And I actually felt sorry for him because I truly saw him feeling abandoned and not knowing how to react. It came out in rage.
Yeah, it comes out in rage. Like, you gonna do this to me? You did it again? What the fuck? Yeah, yeah, it comes out in rage. So that little boy is still there. The difference between
Yes.
um a grown man and a little boy, narcissistically speaking, is nothing but height, weight, and age.
That's real right there.
It's the only difference. They just got older and bigger and taller.
Ooh, that is real. That's real. And when you see it, you can't unsee it.
It's
You
there forever.
cannot. Yeah. And once it's out, it's like a toothpaste. You can't, once that toothpaste is out the tube, you cannot put it back in. And you know what? My dating life is different now.
Yeah, it has to be because
Totally different.
you don't want to waste time. Uh, you don't want no triggers. You don't want no surprises. You see it early on,
Yes.
are aware of it, and it's more comfortable with dating now because it's like, oh, when women don't know and don't study it, they go on a date and they get love bombed, and then they
Mm-hmm.
get breadcrumbed, and then they get ghosted, and they get gaslit, and it's like, it's not going to happen for you like that because
Right.
you got it.
Right. I'm going to read a few more comments and then wow, there's a lot coming through. Lovejoy said, "Yes, it's unreal. Yes, it's unreal when you see it and
It's
it can be
almost scary.
yes.
So my dating pool is shrunk because
Yours too?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Look at look at what I'm talking about. But I'm glad it's strong because for all my life, my dating pool was like worldwide, and I didn't need that, but I took advantage of it. It was like I was greedy. So now
Right.
women like, but the chance of you meeting a narcissistic man, the chance of you meeting a narcissistic man and him not telling you is extremely high. The chance of you meeting a narcissistic man and him telling you, the chances are very slim. There's 70% men narcissistic and 30% women. Black men,
Mm.
according to what I read, black men are on the leading edge of being diagnosed as narcissist with NPD. So there are men out here
Mm.
with a lot of traits but undiagnosed, but they have the traits. They just haven't been um, appointed or called out or cited. So they still going to treat you a certain way because they haven't had their talk therapy and they're not ready to. Not only that, they're just not ready to stop acting like they're acting.
Right. Exactly. Do we have time for one viewer question?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay, good. I won't read all of them because there's a lot. So, okay, here's one. It seems like my partner always wants to argue at night.
That's so he can get up and leave and go cheat.
Shit.
That was me.
Damn. Okay, let me read part 2 to that. It seems that our norm is to argue until 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and then go to work like nothing happened.
Yeah, because it's like he goes to work mad. She goes to work mad. So he can come home late the next day because he's already mad. What difference does it make? Yeah.
What?
Uh-huh. The stage has already been set. Premedit
God damn.
Premeditation is a narcissistic person's dream. Everything is premeditated.
See, now you have me going back into memory banks.
Good.
That's what that was.
We have fun talking about this.
Why am I triggered right now? But this is good because I'm going back. Wow.
Take another
Okay.
question.
Excuse me.
We do another question.
We want to? Okay. Can a narcissist tell when their partner is pulling away? I
Yeah.
want my peace, but I don't want to trigger my partner.
No, they know when you're pulling away, and so when they start to be more aggressive and more attentive and more on top of things and begging and pleading and doing crazy stuff, they know. They know. I'm dealing with that now. I was that way, but I'm talking to women now that are dealing with it. I'm like, look, when you start to break away, so what happens is when a woman gets her strength back and her power back, she's like, oh, I don't need you about talking back or dating or putting on lip gloss or getting their hair done and not
Right.
telling them where they're going. Oh, he gonna stalk you because you spent years with him, letting him be in control, and now you take that control from him. He don't know how to handle it. Now the fear kicks in. Oh, you're gonna leave me like my mother left me, or you're gonna leave me like my last wife left me. Then they may become violent. They're gonna stalk you. They're gonna knock on your door. They're gonna knock on your bedroom window. They're gonna come to your job. Yeah, it's going to happen
Mm.
because that's the only way of knowing how to process it because they didn't have therapy, and without therapy, you're not gonna be fair
What do you mean? Not be fair.
because you don't know you're not taking any accountability and responsibility. Like, okay, you know what? I mistreated her. I cheated on her. Let me go move out and get my own apartment and leave her alone. She needs a better man than me. They can't accept that. So
Oh
instead of
no.
getting therapy and saying, hey, Leon, you're the problem. You're the problem, blah, blah, blah. Okay, thank you. I'll be back next week. They don't get the therapy. So now their therapy is to lash out, to get angry, to express
Ah.
themselves, to try to pull you back in, stop you from leaving. Baby, I'm sorry. First, you're going to, okay, baby, let's talk. Well, then they go, well, okay, F you then. You don't want to ask my God. You know? Then the next day, they come knock on your door. Baby, I'm sorry. I got some flowers, some fruit. No. If they don't go through talk therapy for 6 months, a year, 2 years, it ain't going to change. And
So what about these tears? I've heard that men, uh, the
they're fake.
manipulative tears.
They're fake. And then
Yeah.
now they expose themselves for being fake and crying to a woman. Now they really hurt and weak, and like now they can become even angry because I was like, I showed you the real me. Now you still gonna leave me? They get madder and madder, and then they start to become violent, and then it just
But,
gets murdered.
but what? Not the authentic tears, but like you said, the fake tears. They'll get upset with that too.
Yeah,
Because
because because you caused me to cry. I never cried, so I found a way to cry to get you to come back and give me one more chance. And now you know something that didn't want you to know, that I can cry. I did
but
that too.
did you?
Yeah, I was.
Did it work?
No, it shouldn't have worked because I was still stalking her anyway. This is 1990, 91. I did a video about my stalking. People laughed at me, you know.
Why? Do you mind sharing? You don't
Um,
have to, but or
no,
as
I
little
don't
as
mind.
you want.
I don't mind. I did a video, then I did a follow-up video not too long ago, and this one black dude, he got it and he put it on. When I posted the video, they took it off my page and put it on World Star Hip Hop, which I'm fine. And they were laughing and joking. Then another black guy got it, telling women, "Yeah, don't date this king. Let's like this is blah 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 blah." But I'm like, dude, I'm 50 at the time. I was 50, 2 years a year ago, 57. I said, man, I'm 50. I got on there and made a comment, bro. I'm 57. It's not who I am now. This is 30 years ago. And so he reposted. But um, February 1991, I broke up with my girlfriend, told her I didn't like her, I didn't love her, walked out the house. We deployed for 3 months. I called back home. She had a boyfriend already. And I pulled back into San Diego and I was looking for her. I stalked her and I got into her apartment. I went in her bedroom, went through her drawers, sniffing her panties. I
Pause,
mattress.
pause, pause, pause. Excuse me. So when you said you stalked her, like you broke into her place, or I don't know
Well,
if that's incriminating,
well,
but
I was able to get in because her girlfriend was my friend, and my ex met her through me. So my ex girlfriend was out on a date, and I went and knocked on the door, and her girlfriend let me in because me and her were cool. And I got in her bedroom, went through her drawers, sniffed her panties, found a picture, went to her job the next day.
wait, did you say you stiffed her pants?
Oh yeah. hmm
Why?
Um, I didn't. I don't know why I did it. I just needed to do it. I know that I needed to do it. I needed to feel that connection with her when I didn't want the
Ah,
connection.
got it.
So
Okay.
next day I went to the pawn shop, got a ring, went to this flower store and got some flowers and walked in her job. And they was like, "You can't come in here." I'm like, I would just walk past the lady. I didn't hear her nothing, but went to my girlfriend's office and got on my knee and asked her to marry me. She's like, "Leon, no, I got a boyfriend. You know I got a boyfriend." I'm like, "Please." It's like, "Look, here he is." She showed me a picture of her boyfriend. And so I stalked her for about almost maybe a year.
Oh wow,
And
really?
yeah. And the worst thing she could do was take me back. And she did. And I asked her to marry me again, and I called the wedding off.
You did.
This is 1991. I
How
just saw her. I just saw her a few days ago at this club. We laughed about. We talked now. She's been married for 17 years.
so how soon did you call the wedding off after you got her back?
Um, I already knew I was going to do it, but I got her back. Then I started cheating on her to get her back, and
Oh
she kind of knew.
wow.
hmm And after that, after she let me get my courage back and my motivation back and my confidence back, I was
Mm.
back. I was never changed, but I was back to my old ways. So I
Mm-hmm.
temporarily went to this new guy to get her back, and she fell for it. That's what I tell women when they come back and they beg and plead and they buy flowers and candy and take you shopping and get you Tiffany bracelets. That doesn't mean all they're gonna do is remember the things they had to go through to get you back, and then they're gonna make it 10 times worse when they hurt you because they're going to hurt you. They're going to emotionally damage you. They're going to try to make it permanent. It's not going to be a physical hurt. It's going to be so
No.
much hurt internally that you're not going to want to date anybody else and you're going to hate them. I wanted her to hate me, and she did. Me and her are cool now. We laughed about it, but that's why I warn them. Once you get away, stay with him, because if you take him back and you make him jump through hoops to get you back, when he hurts you, you're going to jump through hoops to keep your life together and keep your heart from being broken. But he's going to smash your heart. It's going
Is
to.
it almost like a punishment?
Yeah, it is a punishment. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Real quick, hold on. Mo Cosby. She says, I have a question. I'm not sure how to word it to a short question though. It's okay. Just type it in there. We'll
Yeah,
we'll we'll
tell her
get
we'll
it.
get it. Yeah, tell her we'll get it.
Yeah. Don't yeah, go for it. We'll be here. We'll be here. But do it now. No.
hmm
But yeah, go ahead. We can piecemeal it together. And Lovejoy said, so true what you were just talking about the punishment. I just went through this very thing with an ex.
Yeah. If you get rid of a person like me, don't ever go back. If here's the thing, if he comes back to you, and I did a video about this, if he leaves you alone for a year and a half, straight up like, baby, you're right, I'm gonna enroll in therapy. If he leaves you alone, he goes to therapy, and he comes out, and he just so happened to see you, and like, hey, I apologize. I went through therapy, but he's legit. He's gonna be legit. I'm legit now. But if they don't go through therapy and they don't leave you alone, they bother you, there has not been any changes, and their cognitive
Mm,
skills are still off. Everything is off, and they are going to hurt you because now they want to get revenge. They're going to be very vindictive.
yeah, I can see that, especially with the punishment part.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the world star. So someone saw it, but you were doing it as a teachable moment, right?
Mm-hmm. And they thought it was going to hurt my feelings to joke me. I'm like, dude, that was 30 years ago. Y'all can't hurt me. But yeah, they made it a joke. They made a joke out of it. Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I mean, that's childish.
that's how we
And
do. That's how black people. That's how we do, though, Ursula.
yeah, yeah. So they made that video, and then you had a rebuttal to it, or
Not
whoever
really.
this guy was.
No, this one guy, he did it. He had a yeah. He just took it and just like broke it down second by second, minute by minute. La, 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 la. And he had some issues himself. Somebody sent me the videos like, Leon, don't worry, because this guy was beating his wife and all this stuff. I'm like, I'm not going to respond to that dude.
No, I mean that's
It's always black
childish.
men. I don't get disrespected by white guys, Latin guys, or Asian guys. It's always black men that disrespect me. When it's some disrespect, it's always a black guy.
I wonder why do you what do you think about that?
I don't. They think that I'm pandering to women. They think I'm a bad guy and I haven't worked on myself. They don't know me, so it doesn't matter. Even my friends that know me don't say anything. They're cool. They understand. But these guys don't know me, and they see a lot of myself in themselves. So I understand they're coming from a place of hurt.
That's interesting that they would use the word pander when
Mm-hmm.
it could be not can be, it is a teachable moment. It gives you insight. Just like we said before, when you see it, you cannot unsee it.
No, you cannot
But
see it.
I get it. Wounded people wound other wounded
Mm-hmm.
people. So I mean, I get it. Um, let me see. I have another question here. I don't feel like I can trust my husband. This was a good one right here. He uses my childhood trauma against me almost like a weapon. Can you explain this?
Yeah. So I did a video tonight. I got a video up on uh, TikTok and Instagram right now. I got to put it on Facebook and YouTube where they. I, this video is about, in a good sense, narcissistic people will use you against you because
Mm.
you're so giving and kind and free-hearted and loving and caring and uplifting, and you celebrate me. I'm going to let you do that so much to where you become addicted to taking care of me, and it becomes hard for you to detach because you know how good it feels to be taken care of. So you take care of me like you want somebody to take care of yourself. You get more out of taking care of me than you get out of taking care of yourself. So I would let you do that, and I would use that against you. And so what happens is I know that you want to take care of me because this is how you are. This is how you built. And I could do a couple of things. I can allow you to do it, which makes you feel good, or I can not allow you to do it, which is going to make you want to do it even more. So they're going to use you against you. Your childhood trauma, whatever you told, and I told her, said in the video just tonight, an hour ago, don't tell him anything about you in the beginning. You wait for that. So your childhood trauma that you tell him, he's going to use it against you as if you were tainted, right? You were molested, you were beat, you were forgotten about, you were raped, and it made you a certain way in bed. It made you insecure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they'll tell you that, and what you're gonna do, you're gonna be. You see women sometimes they be married so long they come out of the shower, they don't even want to show their husband their breasts. They don't want to be undressed in front of him because he said something about her uncle touching her, and it triggered her, and it's like Jesus Christ, or her father doing something, or the neighbor doing something. So they'll trigger you. They'll say things to make you go into a shell, or to make you come out of a shell to be give him what he wants sexually, but you're gonna be uncomfortable doing it. You're not gonna enjoy it, but he will.
Mm.
Or or he'll say it on purpose to make you shut down and say, "That's why I cheated because you don't have sex with me."
Wow. That hearing that, the emotional and mental gymnastics to perform
Hmm. Right.
physically, mentally, emotionally,
Hmm.
sexually, like that's a lot.
It's a lot, and
Yeah.
people do it. It's the manipulation of it.
So mm, so
So
when I
now,
hear you,
now it becomes her fault that he cheated. It's not her fault, but he wants her to think that because he made a comment about her stretch marks. He made a comment about her stomach, her butt. He made a comment about her scent. He made a comment that she's close. She doesn't make sounds when they have sex. And so now you're not giving me what I want, so I had to go find it. It's your fault that I slept with another woman.
wow, that deflection at its best.
Hmm.
Okay, here's one more. My narc father has a pattern of talking bad about me to friends and especially family. What is that about? It's hurtful because they listen to him over me.
Yeah, he's really mad at your mother.
Really?
Yeah,
Why do you say that?
because she's probably just like her mother in a good way, and she probably challenges him. He don't like it, so her mother did the same thing, and instead of hurting her mother, which he can't anymore, she's probably gone or deceased, whatever. He'll hurt the daughter. It gives him satisfaction because also he didn't have control over the daughter. I guarantee you, she'll tell you that he couldn't control her, so he tried to do it in a roundabout way by talking about her. That's his flying monkeys. I guarantee you, if she says wrong here, yep, he couldn't control me. I guarantee she'll say that. Ask her.
Ah,
And she was also too strong for him to dominate and push around. He may have pushed her mother around, but she stood up to him. I guarantee that's part of it too. It's one of those two.
right. Well, if she's listening, I hope she does come back in my DMs. I'm sure I'm going to get that a lot. Like he
Mm-hmm.
was right. This sounds familiar. Um, so before we get off, can you just tell everybody about your book? We've mentioned it before. I just dropped the link, but and I dropped the live link, and you all can go and purchase the book, take a look at it, as well as your YouTube channel.
Yes, my book is called The Seven Loveless Traits, um, Understanding Narcissism. Um, we talk about the love languages, five love languages. I wrote a book of the opposite of love languages, the loveless traits. I don't want to call it the loveless languages because it was too close to his title. So I called it Seven Loveless Traits. Like your love language might be acts of service. Narcissistically speaking, I'm going to be my love language is acts of disservice.
Ooh,
Uh, so the book talks
genius.
about the seven different um, loveless traits. I talk about my childhood, and it's a whole lot. It's a lot of information. I'm gonna do an audio book. It's just gonna be so long. I'm gonna do one though, but it's a lot of information.
Okay, so we have a comment right here from Lovejoy. Great book, Leon. I just finished reading it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Love Joe. I would like to sign books too. If I can, when people purchase them, they can, if they want, they can email me, mail it to me. Sign it, put something in it, and mail it back if they want that. I'm doing a conference this Saturday. I'm driving back to Cleveland. I'm doing a conference. I posted on my IG, Facebook, Instagram, but it's a conference in Cleveland, a 4-hour conference, and I'm gonna be talking about red flags, specifically red flags, a lot that women don't know about too. Some of them we talk about tonight, because a lot of women, so we get stuck on red flags, right?
Mhm.
And now people are talking about green flags. We never talk about white flags. What did that man or woman surrender? But
Oh,
yeah,
that's good.
so I'm gonna talk about that. But the problem women have is that you all operate in the gray flag area. So it's black and white, and at work you say, "Hey, there's no gray area." You're getting gray area. That's trouble. Women operate in a gray area, so a gray area because you start to take chances and risk things. It's black and white. This is what you see. This is what it is. But let's go in a gray area because I still love Leon and I want to go see him. But I know he's got another girlfriend. But I do, you're operating a gray area, and that's worse than a red flag because you cut corners, you take chances, you put your life on the line. Red flag,
Woo!
yeah, red flags can be obvious. They can be obvious, but gray flags is what you do to stay in my life. It's what you do to keep me, and you put your life on the line. You put your kids' life on the line. You put your job on the line. You do. Women do.
Stay out my business, Leon.
Right? Yeah. I'm here for you.
Oh, ouch. As you're talking, it's hitting my soul because I have definitely been in that gray flag area and did not know. And we just gonna kick it. It's fine. And then, there goes that cycle. So if anyone has experienced that gray flag, put a 1 in the chat for me and for yourself. If you experience it, definitely put it for me. That is wild. So I did see that on your YouTube channel about the Ohio event. And I saw Dr. Tamika Ellington.
Yeah, she's I guess it's 4 or 5 women that are putting it together, I think.
Yeah.
I talked to a lady named Wanda that's been corresponding with me, so I don't know the other women. But yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Tamika, she's been on my podcast, I want to say about a year and a half ago. She is wonderful, wonderful woman. Wonderful. And Lovejoy, yes. Women tend to see pink flags.
Right?
That was my toxic trait. I'll see that red flag, I'll turn it pink. I will take the flag and make it out of a blanket.
Right.
A nice comfy blanket and oh my God. So there we go. Well, I enjoyed you immensely. Of course, again, I would love to have you come on because I did not read all my questions, but if anyone
We'll do it again. We'll do it again. Whenever you're ready, Ursula, like you do, you send me the email, boom, you tell me the date, boom, we do it. Yes.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'll connect with you offline like we usually do. But I would love for you to come back. Anybody, if you have, first of all, hit that subscribe button. First of all, I want you to subscribe so when Leon does come back, you'll know when I upload another video. But we'll do a live Q&A. And if you have any questions, I will read it anonymously like I did tonight for Leon, respectfully. And let's get this healing, continue this healing conversation. Did you have any parting words?
Just, remember to love yourself unconditionally. Don't stay too long, because you stay too long, you stay too wrong.
Yes.
Don't let it start to affect your health, because when it starts to affect your health, it's going to affect your wealth.
Wow. I'm processing that. That's another one. So you're just going to drop gems all night. Okay.
I got to give that to you. Right.
Oh my God. Everyone, thank you again for another. Before we get off, if you want to see Leon again, drop a 1 in the chat. That's what I definitely want to see. So if I see a 1, then we're going to have you back on, Leon. But
right. We'll wait if they put a 1 up.
Well, there we go.
Lovejoy got us. We're coming back. All right, Miss Lovejoy. Appreciate that.
This is good. This is great. Everyone, thank you so much for another episode of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. I appreciate everybody's comment, their questions for Leon and myself. But let's continue this healing and come back next week. I have a relationship coach. He is going to talk about dating and different attachment styles, all of that good stuff. So we got another one. So there you go.
All right.
Got to do it. Have a good evening. And Leon, I appreciate you so much.
Right. Thank you for having me. I'll see you again.
Yes, sir. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti. Black girl magic, melanin popping. Whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These